Welcome back to another Cobra Kai video of mine, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you may be wondering, why has the old format returned? Well, the old format has returned quite simply because, well, popular demand. I've had several people reach out to me and say, hey Jacob, we like you on camera, but there was something quite warming about your old style of video, the way you used to do it. And I always just threw it together just as a template. It was not meant to be anything long term. But I think people like the simplicity of it, the warming nature of it with the music, and then, you know, the visuals with the space warp, and just sort of it like being a podcast that you can immerse yourself in. And I really like the idea of that. So I'm going to go forward with that. I'll still do on-camera videos here and there. I'll always be on camera during my live streams. But for anything that's non-Cobra Kai, I'll probably be on camera, but anything that's Cobra Kai, I'll keep it like this, as, you know, it's something that you guys really enjoy, and your feedback means a lot to me, because without you, then I would just be talking to no one. So I really do appreciate each and every single one of you who come back every week. You listen to me ragging about the show, or loving the show, and doing Robbie videos, or whatever, you know, speaking of, or doing whatever the case may be, and I really do appreciate that. Now, let's get into the subject matter at hand. I want to touch upon this. Now, expect a massive slew of these videos from me. I absolutely freaking love, and I mean love, episode 6 of season 5. It is without a doubt one of the best episodes I have seen in anything ever, and that includes movies, shows, everything. Now, my loyal fans will know, and I hate fans, my loyal subscribers will know I'm a huge Star Wars guy. I felt more empathy, I felt more sadness, I felt more joy, my heart felt full with this one scene of Robbie and Daniel interacting together after so long, with how far both of these characters have come since the last time we saw both of these two together, than I did for pretty much all of Kenobi, all of Boba Fett, and that's saying something. That is the power of storytelling. You can see the reaction that I did with the rest of my boys when we were watching it. This particular scene broke me. This is one of them kind of scenes that it hits different. And this is the reason over the years why I have done as many Robbie videos as I have, is because there's something about the journey of a character who makes mistakes, who screws up, who tries their best to change their course, change their direction in life, and then they screw up again and again and again. And to have someone reach out to them and offer them a second chance at life, which is exactly what Daniel did for Robbie, to then go completely tits up, you know, where Robbie ends up in juvie, where Daniel ends up estranged from him, and they both go in separate paths, and then it just feels like they're so distant from one another, to where they end up now, in this particular scene here, this moment. And I've always said, as much as Sam and Anthony are Daniel's kids, Robbie is the one that got Daniel back into karate in the first place. Like, properly. I mean properly. Like, he's the one that Daniel lived vicariously through. Every training exercise, every training method, sand the floor, wax on, wax off, everything. Even just, you know, back to season 1 when he's like, God, I love this part. Just the moments between Daniel and Robbie across the seasons have been building to this moment right here, where everything comes full circle, where Daniel offered a handout to Robbie to change things. Robbie plays a key important role in bringing Daniel back to the forefront, and I absolutely love it. For me, this completes his redemption, and Robbie is fully redeemed now, and he's on course to, you know, working with Miguel and Eli. And I do want to throw this out there that I want to talk about. I want to talk about this in a future video, but I want Robbie to win the Sekai Taikai. I think it's just a natural progression for his character. I think he's the only one of the big 3 who haven't won a trophy, and I think it's so poetic to have a Lawrence and a LaRusso win on the grandest stage of them all, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Just focusing specifically on this scene. This scene encapsulated everything I wanted out of this show. For the past 5 seasons, bringing everyone together. I mean everyone. I know I've got a lot of flack for it, and Robbie fanboy this and whatever, and I know people don't like Robbie's character, and that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not taking that away from you. But you can't honestly tell me while watching this scene you don't get choked up. There's something quite heartwarming about the relationship between sensei and student. It's something that's so powerful, so palpable, so strong, that they don't necessarily need to be related by blood to be family. When you think about it, that's all Robbie ever wanted. All he wanted was a family. This season, he now actually has a family. He got what he always wanted. But for a little while, the LaRusso household was all Robbie had. And that was the kindness and generosity of Daniel. And that not only speaks volumes of where Robbie's come from, but it speaks to Daniel as well. And the type of character, not character necessarily, but the type of man that Daniel is. There are very few people in this life who have someone like Daniel to lead them, guide them, protect them, and show them the right path. And the scene here in question, or in conversation, when they all bow to Daniel, is an example of the benefits of if you put good out into the world, good will come back to you. Johnny is standing on one side of him, Chosen standing on the other side. All of his new students, past and present, are bowing to him. His son, his daughter, his wife. It rejuvenates Daniel. It gives him his mojo back. And it's such a heartwarming moment. It is the season 3 ending on steroids, which is exactly what I wanted. Now, admittedly, I don't know where Dimitri is. He's probably doing his Tech Town stuff at this time. Chris, no idea where he is. Mitch, we don't need to worry about Mitch. He's useless. You can get him out of the show. We don't need him. But this moment right here was just so overwhelming with emotion, and the power of storytelling on display in this scene was absolutely incredible. And I love the moment between Sam and Daniel, daughter and father, where she says, "Not everyone has someone like you." And that speaks of the relationship of Sam and Daniel and where they're at now. And it just shows you how far them two have come from season 1. And then Amanda telling the story about how she sat next to Mr. Miyagi. He poured her a cup of tea and said, "Amanda-san," and then told her a story. It's exactly not just what Daniel needed, but what we as the audience needed to remind us, yes, this show is about Johnny. This show is about Chosen. It's about Robbie. It's about Miguel. It's about Hawk. It's about Mike now even. Silver, Kreese, Tori, Sam. It's about all these characters. But let's not forget who the Karate Kid is. That's what this whole moment was about. Let's not forget who the Karate Kid is, and this scene reminded everyone of that, including myself, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in, okay, Johnny's perspective, that we forget that Daniel was the centerpiece of this whole saga. The whole universe is built around Daniel. Yes, these characters are great and they have their own individual stories, but it's Daniel's universe. He is the connective tissue from Karate Kid 1 to 2, from Karate Kid 2 to 3, and he could potentially be the connective tissue to the next Karate Kid, depending on what they do with Julie and you know, potentially others down the line. And I freaking adore this scene for that. It's just so full of heart, so full of emotion, and you just get choked up. You cry tears of joy. It's the most uplifting scene I think I've seen in any media in a very, very long time. It's just a simple scene between Sensei and student where Daniel told Robbie exactly what was going to happen. Robbie has no one to blame but himself, but that's his arc, that's what he has to go through, and now he finally understands everything that Daniel and Johnny have tried to do for him for the past few seasons, where he couldn't quite understand it until he started mentoring Kenny, and then he lost Kenny, and now it's brought everything full circle. And then you think about how far these two have come. At first it was petty, you know, Robbie wanted to get back at his dad, all that kind of stuff. And as I've said before, he wasn't justified in doing it, but you can understand why Robbie wanted to do it. And I only say that if you can actually relate to it. Then also, you just see situations across the first 2 seasons especially where Daniel and Robbie really connect. And Daniel is the father figure that Robbie always wanted. And then he feels betrayed by Daniel in season 3, to which this scene addresses, where Daniel literally says to him, "I was just trying to help you." And Robbie's like, "No, I'm sorry, I understand that." This is a level of maturity for Robbie, taking ownership of his shit, owning up to what he's done, you know, taking responsibility. "No, you were trying to help me, but I made it bloody awkward for you," because now he has the perspective that he didn't have before because of the experiences he's had with Kenny. It's everything's come full circle, and this is one of my favorite scenes from one of my favorite episodes in the whole of this show, and it's just incredible. I freaking love this scene. Guys and girls, jump in the comment section down below. Let me know what you thought of this scene. Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 how choked up you got. And Tommy Oliver has come home. Like, Robbie's the 6th Ranger. Like, Tommy Oliver has come home. He's that sort of anti-hero, you know, good, bad, bad, good guy, you know? Now, I do want to end this video by saying this. The fight that Robbie and Miguel had clearly showed you who is overall better. That's Miguel. And the reason that quite simply is because Miguel is the new age Karate Kid. By definition, Miguel is going to be better. But there are moments that you can make a case for Robbie where Robbie could keep Miguel on his toes. And hell, it doesn't have to be this bitter blood sport where you have to choose a team. You have to choose a side. You know, we've become so accustomed now to this side versus that side. But when you think of every 80s movie or whatever, take Rocky and Apollo for instance. Apollo was by and large a better boxer, but Rocky always won, came out on top in situations because of, plot and all that kind of stuff. But Apollo kept him on his toes, just like Rocky would keep Apollo on his toes. And that's what Miguel and Robbie can be for each other. They can keep pushing each other to the point where it doesn't matter who Sensei Kim brings in. It doesn't matter what the Sekai Taikai has in terms of fighters. If they keep pushing each other, who's going to touch them? No one. And that's important. And then you've got Daniel leading the line. You've got, Robbie with his father now. You've got, Chosen in the mix. You've got Miguel sort of centered and back to balance. You've got Hawk trying to reform himself and, have a new beginning. Dimitri's there as the voice of reason. Amanda's another voice of reason. Sam's kicking ass. Tori's, switching things up a bit. There's so much potential for where things can go for the final couple of seasons. And it's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to it. But I've rambled on long enough. Guys and girls, jump in the comment section down below. Let me know your feelings on this particular moment right here, and I'll see you all down in the comment section. This scene brought this came with the heat.